The Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir, behind the failed attempts by Pakistan to strike India, behind the failed attempts to shield Pakistan from Operation Sindoor, has actually been promoted. Proof really that Pakistan is truly a country of the bizarre. Asim Munir, for failing to thwart India's Operation Sindoor, for failing to strike with drones, missiles and whatever they sent at India, failing to do his job, has actually been promoted. He's been made a Field Marshal. And this promotion comes after the Pakistan Army military was completely demolished, decimated and defeated by our forces. Pakistan has promoted Asim Munir to Field Marshal, which is the highest rank in the Pakistan Armed Forces. And so that makes Asim Munir only the second Field Marshal in Pakistan's history, after Ayub Khan, who entitled himself for this slot. In a way, you can look at this essentially as Asim Munir ensuring his own protection, because we all know who calls the shots in Pakistan. But it's the Pakistan cabinet that's approved this promotion for Asim Munir. And like I said, the fact that he's only the second Field Marshal in Pakistan really tells you how completely oblivious they are to the reality of what happened just a few days ago. So this is the big update that's coming in right now. Asim Munir has been promoted by the Pakistan government for essentially the Pakistan Army being defeated by the Indian Army, for the Pakistan Army failing to detect any of the missiles or drones that we'd sent their way for the successful Operation Sindoor, or for that matter, Pakistan's attempts at hitting back at India, all of which was thwarted. And yet, Asim Munir, no, is not pulled up, but is promoted. Geeta Mohan, a foreign affairs editor, is joining us with more on this. Geeta, recognition for Asim Munir, perhaps for the failures of the Pakistan Army, but he's been made Field Marshal, and we understand he's only the second general to get such a recognition, highest honor essentially for the Pakistan Army Chief.
Well, that's right, Akshita. Look at how this entire thing has played out in Pakistan. It just seems like General Asim Munir was on an agenda, and he's fulfilled his agenda of being now promoted as Field Marshal. You know that in Pakistan, having an anti-India agenda has always been the focus. But to go to the extent of using not just terrorism as an instrument of state policy, but to use terrorism and terrorist infrastructure to further your own personal agenda and interests. Like we've been talking about, the fact that everything that has been done so far has been at the behest of, or at the on the orders of, General Asim Munir. Whether it is calling for the kind of meetings that were called for, giving a free hand to the army that was done by the civilian government. Of course, it was Asim Munir who'd asked Shahbaz Sharif to give a free hand to the army. And now Asim Munir again here at the helm of affairs in many ways than one, with the civilian dispensation now, passing the entire move, bipartisan move to promote him as Field Marshal. So. Okay. It's a very personal move by General Asim.
In a way, many would say that this is essentially a self-promotion. Gaurav Sawant is joining us with more on this. Gaurav, it's like I said, Pakistan is a country of the bizarre. That when the Pakistan Army fails, what happens? You see not the Army Chief being pulled up, but rather being promoted.
So it remains to be seen whether he's being kicked upstairs or whether he retains all the powers as Army Chief, as Field Marshal. Remember, in India, both times when Gen Karyappa was made the Army Chief and when Sam Manekshaw was made the Army Chief, that was a ceremonial post. However, in the Pakistan Army, Ayub Khan retained all powers as Field Marshal. So only the Army Chief is respected in Pakistan. You're absolutely right. He was a disaster as an Army Chief. General Asim Munir was responsible not just for a series of terror attacks. His disasters include the setback that Pakistan Army received in Balochistan, the setback they received in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and also operations against India when India launched Operation Sindoor. However, just to save himself, he makes himself the Field Marshal. Again, it would remain to be seen what happens after this. Because even Parvez Musharraf, when he became the president and was no longer the Army Chief, it was an exit route that was given to him. In Pakistan, it's the case of the box of mangoes. For example, Ziaul Haq, when they wanted to get rid of him, there was a box of mangoes that was put in that C-130 aircraft, and that case of mangoes exploded. Asim Munir is hugely unpopular even in his own country. There are a section of corps commanders who do not like him. Is this an exit route that is being given to him? We will have to wait and watch. But his control of power so far had been brutal. He got rid of several corps commanders who were opposed to him. He got rid of the entire hierarchy that was close to Imran Khan. So Asim Munir has consolidated his control over power in the past. What happens in the days, weeks and months ahead remains to be seen.
So let's see if he controls and remains essentially the boss of Pakistan. And the reason I say that is we all know, of course, and it's well documented that the Pakistan army calls all the shots in Pakistan. The civilian government is essentially a puppet government. So is it Asim Munir essentially promoting himself, or has he been kicked top like Gaurav has said? Thanks very much, Gaurav, for joining us with all of those details.